guys, I'm Becca. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going over my November budget wrap-up and sharing our real budget results with you. The month wasn't as great as I'd hoped it to be just because of a last minute delay in a project that my husband was working on, which delayed a payment. So some of the money that I thought we were going to get this month, we won't actually get until next month, which is fine. We still made budget, but just a little disappointed about that. But I will share that all with you, so let's get into it. Okay, so November, I don't really know how I feel about this month. It was just so for several reasons. With income, we actually made more than I'd planned, which honestly, I planned for kind of the bare minimum they were going to make. So if we don't make more than the number planned, I would be really upset. But I blocked out our 4 personal income sources just for Jared's privacy. And then this last one for miscellaneous just includes rental income and utilities that we charge the people who are temporarily renting our new house. And we charge them $1,300 for rent and a $200 flat rate for utilities, with the understanding that if they go above that, they'll pay the extra, which honestly, now that I know how much our utilities are going to cost, they're always going to end up paying the extra. But this month, one of the bills didn't actually charge, so that's why I just charged them the base amount. So let's move into fixed expenses. So the first one is our tithe. Again, it's not really a bill, but it is a category that Jared and I believe in wholeheartedly. We always give 10% of our income to our church and ministries. I actually work for a ministry, so that's just where my heart is. And this month we gave $780.67. And this is just, we tithe off of everything but the rental income that we get. Our rent and water this month was $14.45.88. This is always around this amount, just varies a little bit. My phone, I kind of changed how I was doing this, and this month my company started doing reimbursement for phone and internet, and so instead of, I was gonna put it up here in take home pay, which is why also I had listed it there initially, but then I decided that's not really income, and we're not being taxed on it. I didn't want to include it as income since it's not. So I just decided to notate it as if I was paying just less money for my phone bill. And so that's supposed to be $50 a month, but they started halfway through the month, so it was only $25 off, making this $29, but that does not seem right. I don't know. Okay, so my Wi-Fi is $61.10. Our car insurance is $153.93. Jared's health insurance is $160.37. Renter's insurance is $12.01. CoServe, honestly, this is our electricity, and I completely forgot to budget for it in November when I was making this budget, because now we just have so many bills in this line. But that was $62, and I will remember to put that in the future. Our mortgage was $1,200, or it's really $1,161, and we just paid $1,200. Wi-Fi at our house is $69.81. Water, I was so upset this month because I set up last month to do auto draft so that we wouldn't have to worry about getting the bill and paying it on time, but they did not send it to me, and they didn't send me any sort of statement at all until after it was already past due, and they sent me something that said your payment, it needs to be paid by tomorrow or the water will be shut off. And it was supposed to be initially $90, but then because of that they tacked on a late fee, so then it was $179. And I was gonna call them and complain, and I just, you only have so many hours in the day, so I just didn't. But I made sure that I'm set up to get email notifications, and it is set up to draft. So moving forward, it should automatically come out. I don't know what the deal was with that. But electricity, this is the one that we didn't end up paying this month. And then natural gas ended up being $70 $4,188. And so that total category was $4,146.44, which is not too bad considering most of the discrepancy here is from our tithe and from me forgetting to put in a whole bill. So moving on to variable expenses. I did pretty good in groceries this month. I'm trying a new tactic where I do, instead of once a week, like regular shopping, I'm trying to do more freezer meals, like once a month or maybe twice a month, and then like only just little trips in between. So this month I spent $405.02. Eating out wasn't as good. I spent $180.65, and this was because we traveled for Thanksgiving, so we just had an extra meal out that we normally wouldn't eat out for. That's kind of what did it. Gas, we spent $96.81, so that was a pretty good estimate on my part. Shopping, not so good. We spent $232.69, and honestly there's no reason for this. Just what happened was that at the beginning of the month I saw this. I just like, I don't know, I feel like I got like in a frenzy because of everything that was going on with my anxiety because of the election. It was just crazy. And so I just went to Academy and just bought like activewear, and that's like, normally I'm very much more controlled, so I don't know what that was about. But then also we had some kind of unexpected things that we bought. Like we went on like a little weekend trip to watch my sister and brother-in-law run a half marathon, and the Airbnb we stayed at wasn't big enough, so we had to buy an air mattress, and that was like $60. So, you know, like just some extra things kind of added up. And then beauty was $12. This is just me buying new BB cream. That's it. Subscriptions was $46.53. I never really know how much this is going to be because we have a bunch of random subscriptions that are only sometimes. So I just try to guess 60. And then Thanksgiving, I actually spent $59, and this is for like, we traveled home or to my family for Thanksgiving, and we made a side dish, and then also I bought the wine for Thanksgiving Day, and so that added up to that much. I'm glad I put a line item in it there at all. So Christmas, this also, I had said that I was going to spend $100 on a tree, and I completely had planned to it. There's one that I picked out that was like $90, and so with tax it would have been $100. But then I went on Target's website. They were doing like a 50% off sale, and they had the most beautiful tree. And I bought it because okay, I'll just write. It was $211.09, and it was half off. So we like went back and forth, like, should we buy this tree? Should we not? It's more than I just planned. But it came down to like, we're big believers in like, you buy nice or you buy twice. And so I know that the tree that we initially were going to buy like next year when we'll, I mean, fingers crossed, be out of debt and be in a better financial position, we'd just be more likely to be like, no, like, let's just get a good tree. So I just wanted to, I know that since I was buying an artificial tree, it'll last for a good while. So I just wanted to get something good and have it last. And I'm not that upset about it, but it was definitely over my planned budget. But that's made me realize that I initially just was having a sinking fund for just gifts and thinking that that would be for Christmas too. But I really need to make one for just separately Christmas expenses. Most of them will be this year because this is our first year together decorating a home. But I know like next year when we move into our home, we'll have Christmas lights. So I'm going to start that sinking fund in January. So hopefully it won't be a budget buster again next year. And then gifts. We purchased way more in quantity gifts than I'd planned. So it's $173.11, which is totally fine. We had to buy them anyway, so it was either November or December. And I'm not mad about it. And then auto, for the second month in a row, this line item killed me. I'm so upset about it. I went right at the beginning of the month to Quikr, because that's where I get my oil changed, and I needed an oil change. And usually I bring mine on oil and it makes it like $30. But this time, oh, and Jared was having to get his registration done, so that's why I kind of budgeted that much. But this time they were like, oh, we can't take that anymore because it's a liability. So I had to pay for the full synthetic oil change. And then because I care about my car and I just want it to last, I want to make sure that I'm able to keep it as long as possible. I asked them for the routine maintenance because, I just want to make sure I'm keeping up with that. And it was an extra like $400. So we ended up spending $572.71. And then while I was there, they were also like, my registration is due in December. So they were like, well, do you want to just go ahead and like do your inspections? I was like, fine. So that like ended up just being a bunch of that. Jared did his registration and inspection, which is like around $100. I did my inspection, which was $23, I think. And then my like $400 extra expense. So that's a bummer. Usually there's a sinking fund for this, but just 2 months in a row we've been hit by really big auto expenses, so haven't been able to fill that or use it. But moving forward, we should be good. I don't want to see that anymore. And then miscellaneous, I ended up spending $68.99. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what that is. And then last item, I didn't budget for this, but vacation. How I do my like sinking funds is anything that I like budget an amount that I'm going to save, and then anything that I spend from that category during that month, I just don't put in my sinking fund cash envelope. So this month I didn't budget anything for vacation, but then I applied for my passport and they actually haven't processed since Jared and I got married in March, we are planning to go to Belize in February, and the closer we get, the less likely that looks. But I went ahead and like did my application for a new passport, and so I had to get a passport photo, and it was $13, and that was it. So that total category ended up being $2,063.19, which is just so sad, but what can you do? And then for savings, this is my investment category. I put $15 in a Roth IRA through Acorns every week, and this month it ended up being $70. And then vacation, initially I'd planned to put aside $200, but then as the month went on and I was just kind of like, I really don't think, or I don't know, we're supposed to go to Belize in February for a band reunion for Jared's band. He used to live there, and so every year they do a reunion, and it's basically a free vacation. They pay for the room and board and like all our food while we're there. You just have to buy your plane ticket. And since we have so many travel credits from a honeymoon we didn't take in March, we were going to like use those for our plane tickets, and it'd be free. But I just was saving for like some spending the money while we're there, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I decided to only put $100 there this month. But then since I spent $13, you can only take cash out in like increments of 10. So I actually just put $80 in that envelope, which I feel good about. I'm not super worried about not having enough for that. And then gifts, since we spent so much, I did not save any. Health, I put $100 in that. We do not have, or Jared doesn't have very good health insurance. I do, but he has just like a health sharing plan, and so basically nothing is covered. So I put money aside for any doctor's visits or prescription medication that he may need, or I may need, just in general, we may need. And then home maintenance. After writing this, I remembered that we had decided, so when we move in March or April, around then, not quite sure when, into our new house, we have some renovations that we want to do right away. Mostly just cosmetic things, DIYs. And I tallied that it was going to cost about $1,500, I think, to do those initial things. So we decided to break it up and save that much every month. But we made that decision after I made this budget. But I went ahead and did it this month anyway. So I put, instead of the $100 for just home maintenance, I put $350 aside for renovation and then also for maintenance. So that category ended up being $600. And then the debt category, so my student loan, they are currently not in repayment because they're federal loans, but I pay on them anyway. And my minimum payment is $222, but I have been doing like Transfer Tuesday, which is like a Pennies Not Perfection thing. If you guys know who that is, I love watching Mary at Pennies Not Perfection, and she does Transfer Tuesday, so every Tuesday you transfer money into one of your goals. And so that's what I've been doing. I make my minimum payment, and then I've been doing like $100 on every Transfer Tuesday. And then this month, I had initially thought that I was going to do $919, but I ended up being able to do more money last month. Actually, let me back up. Sorry, these two items are not technically debt. These are money that we borrowed from ourselves to buy a house because we weren't quite financially prepared. The opportunity kind of snuck up on us, and you can watch some of my other videos to figure out more about that. But what we did was we borrowed money, and now we are repaying it. And so I actually didn't even need to do $919. I just to get our emergency savings account back to $5,000, which is where we keep it, I only had to do $113.08. So now that is done. So I'll do a little check. Yay! I can take that off for future months. And then checking repay, I thought we'd be doing $459. Then later through the month, I ended up thinking that we would be able to do like a pretty good chunk of, we have $1,667 left to repay our checking account. We like to keep 1 month of expenses buffer in there since my husband is self-employed, just in case. We don't always know what kind of income is going to come in, but he had a project that we thought he was going to finish in November and get paid for in November, but he ended up only finishing part of it in November, like the first step. So he didn't get that whole paycheck. So we weren't able to do as much as I had thought we would when I made my December budget. But it's okay. That's why it's kind of just like a meh month. But we were still able to put $700, just all the balance. This is the goal that we now are working on finishing. So when we do our zero-based budget, we just take all of these expenses subtracted from our income, and the difference, which is $733.88, goes here. And then this category in total is $1,368.96. And that is a zero-based budget. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, and please, if you just have anything that you want to add, make sure you give it a comment. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.
Find myself on that old familiar pathway that leads me down that same old beat. But every day I find I'm leaving empty with water.